Question, real estate in California. What the Seriously, can someone help? What's an escrow? What's an ARM? What is an REO? What is pre-approval? Can I get pre-approval? Why is inventory so low? Why are interest rates so high? Oh, interest rates not so high? How low is low? How not so high is right.
Before you go down the road of questions, get expert help at championsofhome.com. California Association of Realtors. Who's your realtor?
I'm Dana Carvey.
I'm David Spade.
Fly on the Wall's back for another season now on audio and video every Monday and Thursday.
So many incredible guests will be joining us.
Follow and listen to Fly on the Wall everywhere you get your podcasts.
Too good to be true.
Our house? That was Diego's answer to why his mother would not come over for my birthday on Sunday. Come on, I told him. She can't expect us to think that's the reason. What did I do to offend her? He couldn't keep a straight face as he explained the legitimacy of his mother's claim. She was refusing to come over for my birthday dinner next weekend because, to quote her, our house had a dark energy. Diego took it a step further, telling us that his mother had been calling him repeatedly, pleading with him to leave this house. This house, which he had to point out constantly during the duration of these interactions, we had just moved into. This was our first weekend fully moved in. This was not just a house. It was our forever home. Our plan was to enjoy life for another couple months and then try for kids. 3 to be exact. That's the plan. You're kidding, I said, even though I knew he wasn't. Before Diego could tell me that I knew he wasn't kidding, our phone rang. The timing was too good. We both knew who it was. It could only be her, the woman of the hour. He smiled and asked if I wanted to answer the phone. I said absolutely, and then picked up with a big, bright smile. Hola, Maria, ¿cómo estás? She was out of breath. Maria couldn't apologize fast enough. She unleashed a machine gun of sorries. I could hear her sweating. Maria was such a sweetheart. A bit of a loon thanks to her extreme devotion to religion, but she was always incredibly sweet, and she loved how much me and Diego loved each other. She was adorable. Doubly so because I had no mother of my own. My mom passed away when I was a child. I have no memory of her. The few photos of us together seem as if they happened to someone else. I can't even recognize myself in them. For those reasons and many more, I was not upset at Maria for thinking my house was evil. She was in church every Sunday, and before I even met her, Diego filled me in on how much she believed in the man upstairs and the man downstairs. It's sort of amazing that Diego turned out as normal as he did, considering how much emphasis she put on avoiding temptation or sin. Maria was pleading with me to bring in a priest to clean our home. I had never heard her like this. It was disturbing, to say the least. Her religious fervor had always been somewhat eccentric, but this was another level. Diego could tell I was upset, so he took the phone away and they started arguing. He was being protective of me, clearly upset with how she was acting. I went to go sit in the living room as they continued to yell. Most of it I could understand, even though my Spanish is not what it used to be. After about a minute of silence, I called out for him. He came into the living room shaking his head, apologizing for what she had said to me. So, is she never gonna come over? He told me she would. You know how she gets. Diego was also protective of her. That's how he was with women. I was curious. What was it about our house? The energy? It had a bad energy? He didn't want to say. It's too silly, and why play into her games? But I couldn't resist. How can anyone, wouldn't you, want to know why someone thought your house was evil? He was hesitant, getting up to go back into the kitchen and pretend to start cooking dinner. I followed him and wouldn't let the subject be dropped. Finally, he said the word. Cuco. Cuckoo? No, Diego corrected me. C-U-C-O. Cuco. So, is that where cuckoo comes from? Cuco? No, Diego corrected me again. Cuckoo is silly. Cuco is serious. I mean, serious to some people. Cuco has nothing to do with cuckoo, or vice versa. There has to be a connection, I told him. No, he said again. Cuckoo is one thing, and cuco is another. I don't know how they're connected. Right, I said, even though my brain had left the building. It felt like we were doing an Abbott and Costello routine. He seemed genuinely creeped out for someone who kept telling me that it was just a silly thing that his mother believed in. My husband gets scared much easier than I do. We saw Jaws last weekend, and I've been dying to see it again, but he refuses because he doesn't want it to ruin the ocean for him. Meanwhile, most of my friends have seen it 3 times already. I can't drop the Cuco thing. It's too crazy for us to casually accept the fact that his mother refuses to come into our house, our forever home, as we romantically referred to it while moving in. During dinner, he finally gave in. Kinda. You know what happened to my father, right? I do, and I don't. Diego hasn't really told me much other than the basics. His father was a well-known horror writer 30 years ago, Humberto de Cortes. Very successful, wrote about paranormal stuff. One day, before Diego was born, his older brother Luis was home alone with his dad. Diego's dad dies very out of the blue. By all accounts, he was a relatively healthy guy, but it took the family by surprise and was a shock to everyone. Maria is convinced it was a spirit. She read the last book he was working on, and she thinks it was an invitation for that spirit to enter their home. A portal. Or a door? I forget which it was. Puerta para los muertos is how it's said in Spanish. Diego never met his father. In fact, his mother found out she was pregnant while out of town the weekend that his father died, when it was just his older brother Luis that was home. I've met Luis once. He was a nice guy. A little odd. I suppose that comes with the territory of becoming a horror writer. Luis took the baton from his father while Diego went down a completely different path, much to the delight of his mother. Diego works as a pediatrician, light years away from writing about ghosts and goblins or whatever those books centered around. Diego talking about his father is rare. The world always feels quiet when he brings him up. I try not to press him on it because the subject makes him so sad and uncomfortable. He can't even look me in the eyes while talking about him. Not that he has much to say. He never met him. This seems to be stressing you out. What do you want to do, move? He took a pause. It was long enough to suggest the thought had actually crossed his mind. Oh, Diego, come on, you can't be serious. He was avoiding eye contact again, except we weren't talking about his father. Not really. I don't want to move, he said. But that was a big but hanging in the air. I waited for him to speak while clutching my glass of wine. My mother is not crazy. So you think our house is haunted? Is that what you're telling me? No, he said, but... Another big but. Great. But, he continued, it makes me nervous to have kids in this house. I was floored. My husband, a children's doctor, was telling me that our house is haunted because his mother got a bad vibe. I wasn't sure how to respond in a sympathetic or understanding way, so I just told him I was going to take a shower. Not being able to resist, I asked that he please exorcise the house by the time I returned. He did not laugh. By the time I came back, he hadn't moved. His complexion had worsened. He still seemed distraught. Are you still thinking about the house? He finally stood up and then told me he was going to go talk to his mother in person. Doing it over the phone would make it take longer. Maybe face-to-face would escalate a solution. He checked his watch, 9:30 p.m. She was still up, he said. Maybe he could catch her before she went to sleep. It was weighing heavy on him. I said it could wait till the morning. My birthday dinner was next weekend. There was ample time to cleanse our house before then. Plus, I told him, it'll give our forever home another night to prove its wicked ways.
Question: real estate in California. What the Seriously, can someone help? What's an escrow? What's an ARM? What is an REO? What is pre-approval? Can I get pre-approval? Why is inventory so low? Why are interest rates so high? Oh, interest rates not so high? How low is low? How not so high is right?
Before you go down the road of questions, get expert help at championsofhome.com. California Association of Realtors. Who's your realtor?
Was that haunted? The best time to ask your husband a serious question is right after sex. It's like truth serum. He smirked while shaking his head out of breath. We've done a good job breaking in the house, but last night was another level. Perhaps the spirits took hold of us. Whatever lifted our libido, it didn't curtail Diego's distraught face. He's getting dressed and telling me he's gonna go over to his mother's house and talk to her. Better to sort it all out now than wait. I waved my nightgown in the air as if it was a white flag and wished him good luck. I was gonna go for a swim. Until we had our own pool, the one in town would have to do. I immediately felt out of place. There were no single women. Everyone there was with their children. I felt like a seductress. One of the lifeguards gave me a long look while spinning a whistle around his finger. This was not my plan. It happened to be 90 degrees outside and our air conditioning wasn't set up yet. Now I'm here in a sea of children trying not to come across as Mrs. Robinson in The Graduate. I find a sliver of open pool and hop in. Within 6 seconds, I am surrounded by little splashing maniacs and am pushed towards the corner. Well, that was a fun minute. I get out. While drying off, I hear my name with just a subtle southern twang. I knew who it was while turning in my new red bathing suit that felt scandalously out of place. Jordan? Jordan was a Southern belle turned real estate agent. She was the mediator for our new home. One of her children was tugging on her bag as she smiled and asked me how the house was. I told her it was great, excluding the air conditioning. She asked if I had called the central AC company that she had referred us to. I said no, even though the answer was yes. Their price was too high. We were running low on cash after the house, so for the moment we were going to tough it out with strategically placed fans. Jordan had not stopped smiling since we started talking. Come to think of it, I don't think I've ever seen her not smile. A true-born saleswoman. She was beaming that we were enjoying the house, and then she asked where Diego was. That's a funny story, I told her. Which I did. Why not? Who better to tell than Jordan, the person who sold us the house? Plus, I didn't have any friends in this town. I could use a conversation. After I finished giving her the summary of Maria and her dark energy, Jordan, for the first time, stopped smiling.
Oh no, because of Spencer Whitehawk?
Spencer wasn't an evil man, but he did die in the house. Another bombshell in a weekend filled with bombshells. Wasn't she required to tell me if someone had died in our home? Her smile was back, telling me it's not a requirement by law unless the potential buyer asks. Plus, he wasn't an evil man. That was the second time she told me he wasn't an evil man. It's alarming that she had to tell me this twice in such a short amount of time. Her child was tugging nonstop on her bag. She apologized and told me that she had to get in the water before she melted, but that I should call her if I needed another referral. Thanks, I said, even though I was still picking my jaw off the ground. Maria would never come over. Diego would have to sell the house, all because some bozo named Spencer Whitehawk died in it. Who was this guy? And what the hell was a Cuco? I stopped at the local library. I didn't expect this to be the reason I went to my new local library. I assumed it would be to find the new Irving Wallace book. Instead, I'm trying to find Spanish folklore about Cuco. The word has been used in Spain since at least the 17th century, famously referenced in lullabies and warnings to children. The cuco is a shape-shifting creature, often described as a shadowy, faceless monster that hides in closets or under beds. It doesn't have a set appearance. It varies depending on the region and storyteller. Sometimes it's depicted as a hairy beast, a ghostly figure, or a man with a sack to carry away bad kids. Its role is to punish misbehaving children, either by abducting them or frightening them into obedience. That's fun. Spencer Whitehawk was a little less fun. A pediatrician, like Diego, who retired 6 years ago and then died peacefully in his home. Peacefully in his home, which is now my home. His obituary didn't have much intel. I asked the friendly librarian if she knew Spencer.
Everyone knew Spencer. He was the town doctor. Delivered both of my babies and my grandbabies as well. Did you know him?
I bought his house.
Oh, well, that's just marvelous. To sleep in such good fortune. Spencer would be happy to know that someone so angelic, such as yourself, was taking such good care of his home.
The librarian was coming on a little strong, so I thanked her and left. Now I had to figure out how I was going to tell Diego that there's a reason his mother won't come over. My body could use a babysitter. That was my sister's opening argument when I picked up her call. She'd been divorced for about a year now, and this car salesman she met at the gym finally asked her out after many post-workout conversations in which both parties were sweating and releasing seductive pheromones. The last time she went on a proper date was too long ago and too sad to recall. Nobody was happier about my move to the suburbs than my sister. She was already a suburbanite, had been since having her kid 5 years ago. With me now only 20 minutes away, it meant more time to hang out and an extra set of eyes to watch her child when she needed to get out. And get laid. This is what sisters are for, hypothetically. Well, I'd love to, sis, but I just found out my house is haunted. Oh, fun, she said. Is it a frisky ghost? Sadly, no. This one kidnaps children. His name is Cuco. Cuco? That sounds frisky to me. Should I wear a skirt or jeans? Little Lance hugged my leg after my sister told him to say hello. He looked up while squeezing my calf and asked if we could go see Jaws. His mother said he had to wait for her to see it with him, but maybe Auntie Anne could let him eat ice cream if he was good. I'm always good, Mom, little Lance said. I started listing the different flavors of ice cream I had, at which point little Lance let go, did a cartwheel, and then charged into the house. My house. It was nice having a house. My sister looked hot. She went with jeans, but the skirt would have worked too. She said she'd be back by 10 or 8 a.m. I tickled her arm and said, I think it'll be 8 a.m. with those jeans. She walked back to her car, brimming with horniness, and drove off as a couple kids ran by chasing each other. This was a nice suburban moment. It's a shame Diego was missing all of it. What do you want to do tonight, buckaroo? Little Lance was sitting with his head dangling off the couch cushion and his feet pointed up towards the wall. What's that smell? He asked. It could be 100 things, I told him. Old paint, new paint, primer. We've been trying to fix the house up a little bit. Why? He asked. As with most kids, it's easy to fall down the infinite why rabbit hole. So rather than give in, I asked if he wanted to get some of that ice cream. The earlier we had ice cream, the earlier he'd crash and fall asleep. Not that I didn't love the little son of a gun. I was his godmother, after all. 2 scoops, some sprinkles, and a little hot fudge later, I entered the living room feeling like the top ant in all of Dallas. Little Lance was positioned right in front of the TV screen. It's a lot better when you turn it on, Buck. I sat down the ice cream bowls and turned the TV on so little Lance could marvel at the murderer's row that was All in the Family, MASH, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, The Bob Newhart Show, and The Carol Burnett Show. We plowed through the ice cream, and then he asked if we could have popcorn. Of course, I told him. 2 scolding hot microwaved bags later, I came back into the living room and saw that he was gone. I placed them down onto the TV tray while trying not to get my flesh ripped out from the leaking oil, and then called out for him. "Is someone hiding?" I yelled. There was a giggle from the hallway. The hunt was on. I would loudly tiptoe and bellow to come out, wherever you are. The giggle was coming from the hallway closet. I got right outside of it and then silenced my toes. I grabbed the closet door, whipped it open, and yelled, "Gotcha!" The bathroom door opened at the end of the hall. It was little Lance, yawning. I turned back to the closet and spread the coats apart. Empty. Lance walked past me and said he smells popcorn. He was out cold 5 minutes into Mary Tyler Moore, his cheek smashed up against my rib cage. It could not have been a less natural sleeping position. I was so jealous. The only place I can sleep now is my bed. Anywhere else I do the halting jerk thing every 3 minutes where I think I'm choking for a second, until eventually I have to give up and stay awake. I let Mary finish because I hadn't seen this episode, and then I carried little Lance up to the bed. We had a tiny guest room that had nothing except for a bed and an empty flower pot on the windowsill. Perfect for a child who can sleep comfortably against the side of his aunt's ribcage. I left his door half open and then kept my light on so that he could find me easily in case he got spooked during the middle of the night. Diego, on the other hand, was still MIA. I called his mother's house to check in and nobody picked up. Maybe she was asleep and he was on his way back. Her house was about 45 minutes from ours. Another reason this new house was a beacon of hope. Diego could be closer to his mother. Not that it mattered, since she thought my house was haunted. I kept waiting for little Lance to wake up and ask to sleep in my room. He never did. The little booger slept right through the night. I, on the other hand, could not fall asleep. I got through half of my book and was still wide awake. I checked my clock. 3:27. The bathroom door shut. I walked over to my doorway to see if he was okay. I stood there for a couple minutes, waiting. For the first time, my eyes started to feel heavy. The light shut off from inside the bathroom. I took a couple steps down the hall and then stopped. The light was on. I leaned against the wall, waiting again. The light turned off. I moved right up to the bathroom door and pressed my head softly against it. The light turned off. I knocked. "Lance, you okay?" From the opposite end of the hall, I heard him. "Auntie Anne, can I sleep in your room?" I yanked open the bathroom door. Empty. I slid open the shower curtain. Nothing. I needed to get some sleep. I closed the door and then told little Lance that of course he could sleep in my room. He fell asleep right away. I didn't close my eyes for hours. It was hot, I was hearing things, and my husband was missing all of it. Rage bubbles were percolating all around me. Little Lance was gone when I woke up. I checked the time, 11:34. I can't believe how long I had slept. I got up, nervous. I called out for little Lance and sprinted down the hall and then down the stairs. There he was, sitting 2 feet from the TV, which was off. "Hey, Buck, you can turn the TV on." He didn't say anything. It was as if I wasn't there. The doorbell rang. I was still groggy. I don't remember actually falling asleep. I opened the front door, and standing there were 2 cops. They asked for my name. I told them. They lowered their hats. The heavier cop took a step forward and told me that my husband and sister were dead. Their bodies were discovered in my husband's car, which was parked behind a movie theater on the other end of town. I told them that was impossible. They must have the wrong house, the wrong people, the wrong everything. The other cop took a step forward and read their names. Diego de Cortez, Allison Warren. The cop suspected that someone had robbed them while they were in the back seat of Diego's car. Their throats had been slit, and Allison's car was gone. They waited for me to speak. "Were their clothes on?" I asked. The heavier cop asked me to come down to the station with them. The other cop asked if I was alone. No, I told him. My nephew's with me. I turned to look at it. He's in my house.
Question: real estate in California. What the Seriously, can someone help? What's an escrow? What's an ARM? What is an REO? What is pre-approval? Can I get pre-approval? Why is inventory so low? Why are interest rates so high? Oh, interest rates not so high? How low is low? How not so high is right?
Before you go down the road of questions, get expert help at championsofhome.com. California Association of Realtors. Who's your realtor?